I'm like,
consummation. That's what's supposed to happen. we have run that leg of the race, and it was surprising how quick Cherelle got comfortable. So, but I knew we was in for a good little journey at that point. So I forgot about that.
Yeah,
I forgot about the part y'all can
I've
get the
never
luggage.
forgotten about that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's gotta
Okay,
move past
sorry.
that.
I'm sorry.
The other thing that was surprising, I think how much our past played a role in our marriage. Even though we had talked about stuff, one time Cherelle, she had got mad at me because I was like 15 minutes late, and she was like, she didn't say this, but it was implied like, "Why you lie to me?" I was like, "I ain't lie to you." You know what I'm saying? But she remembered just times when she would think that her father was going to do something and he didn't. And so when I didn't come through on a small matter, it really related to a hurt that she had that she didn't know. She wasn't even aware. And I'm like, man, I'm kind of catching some heat. And I was like, but I was ministering to the dude got saved. Like he baptized, speaking in tongues.
He was like, and then there was a stoplight.
And it was a
red.
stoplight. And so I'm only 15 minutes late. She was like, well, your dinner just going to be cold. And
I'm sure that's exactly what I said.
I said, what? We got a microwave. We got one. Remember when we got married? We can warm it up. Like, so I'm about to like, warm it up, Chris. I'm about to. But I think the past things. And the other thing was another surprising part that's not the most like, oh, yay, that's cool. Other people were still attractive after we got married. And I remember still having to get over past relationships and like people I had a crush on, things like that. And that was shocking, you know, because I was like, man, I'm not trying to cheat on my wife.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be unfaithful.
Right.
And so that was, I mean, it was like when you smell your own breath and you have been talking to somebody in close quarters for a long time. Yeah. And you're like, oh snap, you were enduring that like that long. And it's just, I was really shocked that I was like, man, some chains are not quote unquote broke yet. Yeah. And one of the best things that happened though was me and Cherelle talking about it. And when I say talking to mentors, I was talking with a mentor and they shared how they had an instance like that and how the wife took it and how she was a part of the healing for the husband and other people. Yeah. And it just so opened us up. I was like, you know, it was difficult because I think the difficulty was I wasn't saying Cherelle wasn't something. I wasn't saying that she did not fulfill something. Like I legitimately had other issues that still were kind of like slowing down. And that was, I mean, it was one of the more difficult realities, but I'm glad we were able to go through it together. I forget when the revelation came, but it was like, we got to fight this together. One of the premarital for him and for her. Yep. For him only, for her only. Yeah, for him only, for her only. That book there helped educate us on how each other think. And so when Cherelle, when she knew what I was dealing with, it allowed her to be a part of the solution, and it also helped me be more open. And it wasn't like, "Hey, babe, you know, I was thinking about such and such today." It wasn't that. It wasn't that type of thing. But it also held me accountable. And I talked to brothers about it. I talked to Troy about it, and she also knew I had brothers that I would talk to about it. And so that it was just shocking that, man, some of the things that still come up from your past. That was a shocking thing. A good thing though was how simple. I echo what you said. How simple marriage can be and how happy it can be. It was just like, you know, it's like at some point it's like, is a storm coming? Is a storm coming? Is a storm coming? And it's like you get to 18 months. Is a storm coming? You get to 2 years. Is a storm, and that's not everybody's story. Right. But I think one thing we hear is a lot of people tell that side. It's horrible. It's hard. It's this. And that could be somebody's story. I'm just the guy. I'm like, that's not everybody's. That's right. You know what I mean? Like, we did so much stuff that people told us not to do in the first year of marriage, right? Yeah. We got married. What was you about to say? No, we got married July 16, 2011. Yep. Planted a church February 2012. Yep. Had a baby February 2013. In between planting the church and having a baby, Cherelle graduated from grad school.
You graduated. I started and then yeah,
yeah,
all of that happened.
So we just had a lot of stuff. Boom, boom, boom. We came off our honeymoon. I had a voicemail about a building that was open for our church, and so we just like, well, can we do this? Are we supposed to be off for a little longer? Like it was just, again, that part. It was, we were just discovering life together, and so it was moving fast paced, and that's kind of been our MO. But we didn't have, we had a lot of grace. And I think, I know a lot of people want to hear drama and things like that, but I mean, I want to hear some stories where people made it, and that they, the house didn't catch on fire, like the tornado came, but it skipped our house, like, and is a lot of grace. Like it is possible, and I'm a possibility thinker. I'm an optimistic, faith-driven, visionary leader with all those things. I'm like, it could be good, and so I think about that. I think the surprising thing was, I thought surely one day she was going to have a knife and was going to just throwing it at me. I thought we were going to have some big major blow up. My dad asked me, y'all had y'all first real argument yet? I said, no, actually, Pop, I don't think so. We had disagreements and miscommunications. I'm not saying it was all peaches and cream. She got mad at me one time because she thought I was going to cook some pancakes. And I didn't say I was going to cook the pancakes. She asked me, did I want pancakes? And then she was like,
I thought he was going to cook them.
I was like, no, if that's the case, I'll eat some cereal.
I know. Where'd you get that he was going to cook the pancakes?
I thought it was implied.
Because he liked making pancakes. I was like, it's Saturday morning.
I thought it was implied.
And then she go down the stairs to make the pancakes. I'm hearing the door slam, the cabinet, boom, 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 boom. She walking all heavy footed. I said, hey, babe, you all right? She's like, yeah. I was like, I don't want them pancakes. And so I said, babe, how about this? I'll take over. Because I think you feeling some type of way. She's like, I am? I said, babe, just let me cook the pancakes. You go up and come back down, kind of do a little reset. Right?
Yeah.
Isn't it something that you could be feeling some type of way and not even realize you feeling some type of way?
Listen, them cabinet doors knew she was feeling some type of way. But I'm saying we had those moments. So I'm not, but man, I am so grateful. When we talk about 9 years, I'm so grateful for what God has done. And I actually the spirit of fear used to come upon me. And I was talking with a mentor last year this time. I was saying, hey, me and my wife just celebrated 8 years. Things are going well. Da-da-da-da. Help me not be afraid that it's going to go bad. Because you have that fear. And he says, no, you keep sowing into the good. You keep on trusting the Lord. And he kept it simple. But my one big surprise, past things that come up, the other big surprise is there's a lot of grace. It's been a lot of grace. And I say grace because it's beyond us. It's beyond us, but it's been a lot of grace.
Yeah.
So how, speaking of what you just mentioned, how do you guys resolve conflict?
Yeah. So we use this analogy, recovery time. You could take.
Yeah. So I think I'm an external processor. So it's conflict because I'm talking, like I'm talking about it. So so we have to communicate because like he just gave the example of I'm going to feel it before I know it. So either I'm going to just feel it, but if we're talking, it's going to come out. I can't, or it's going to show in my distance. Not even conscious, but I'm going to be sitting over here. I'm going to sit over here. You know what I'm saying? So those types of things. So once we notice that, or really Chris pointed that out to me, like you're kind of sitting far. There's something
any
on
other
your
time
mind.
you all in my face.
Yes.
I know she feeling some type of way. She's sitting across the hall, you know what I'm saying? And not looking at me. I'm like, that ain't even you. What's wrong?
And so I think we talk a lot and talk about it and just make space for that conversation. And I think Chris does a good job for me because he's an internal processor. So he would have thought about it and solutioned it. But I hadn't thought about it yet because I hadn't talked about it. And so he does a good job of just providing space to, hey, has there been anything on your mind? Like, it doesn't have to be because something's wrong, but just space. And so one of the questions we'll ask is, is like how had there been any deposits or withdrawals in your bank account?
Your
emotional bank account. And so then that makes us think back like, oh yeah, here it's so good and bad. So this is a really good thing.
And that's a deposit.
It's a deposit.
When it's a good thing. You did this. That deposited something in me.
Yeah, or actually when you said this or made this decision or whatever, this was a withdrawal. So that helps kind of initiate conversation. And we'll kind of do it randomly sometimes. At one point, it was a little bit more regimented. Like, hey, let's have a check-in. Once a week, on these things, and then it became a little bit more natural in as we got to know each other and how we think and the space we needed. But I think we confront it, or we confront that we need to confront it.
Yeah, I think one big thing echoing is the difference between the person who gets in a fight on the street and the person who gets paid thousands and millions of dollars to fight is one is sanctioned and one is not.
Yep.
And the sanctioned fight has rules, has a place, and you have a desire, and you have a designated outcome that's marked by time.
Yes.
Okay, so you have that unsanctioned fight. You're going for blood. You're trying to hurt the other person before they hurt you. In the sanctioned fight, you have a referee.
Yeah,
in this, the referee is the Holy Spirit, and He gives us a time. So we set aside time for, hey, we got this thing. We're not gonna try to have the conversation on the way out the door. We're not trying to have the conversation when you about to go to sleep. That's dirty fighting. So where's a sanctioned time where we could come together, where we're committed to us spending time with the guidance of the Holy Spirit? Because if not, you're gonna be bringing up everything. So we stay on topic.
That's it.
So we rules of confrontation, right?
Yep.
You acknowledge what the real issue is. You stay on topic of that issue. We use I feel statements. When you did this, it made me feel, not accusatory statements. Not saying you did this and you always. We don't do always. Those simple rules helps us confront bigger things in not such a opposing way. And we talk about recovery time. So you can have difficulty. The difference between the person who's in shape and the person who's not in shape, not if they can run the mile in a certain amount of time, is can they walk after they run the mile? When can they run another mile? That's your recovery time. The person in shape, they ran that mile, they recovered fast, their heart rate dropped, and they can run another one. And so our recovery time, we want to work on that. How long does it take us to recover from a miscommunication, a difficulty, or a conflict? And so those are the things, and open communication about any and everything, and being committed to that is big. And so I think those are the things just kind of echoing sanction time, confronting things, trying to stay on topic, using I feel statements, and then sometimes you gotta invade it with affirmation. Look, I know you love me, I love you, we're on the same team. This is difficult for me to bring this up. You know what I mean? It's not trying to be passive, but it's trying to be respectful.
And prayer. Sometimes it's like, just something. Just like I can't analyze it away or explain. I'm feeling some type of way. And we need to come together in prayer and allow the Lord to search both of our hearts. You know what I'm saying? And
I mean, real talk. Well, this is the thing. Like literally, I'm gonna say two statements. One, first year of our marriage, we were in South Africa, right? Which is crazy anyway. We went to South Africa, and this guy told us he wasn't even married. He's like 40 something. He's single, and he said disciples make better lovers. So what we try to help people see is that there's no difference in discipleship and marriage. And so most of the time when you look at it, we have difficulties in undiscipled places that are not submitted, that are completely following the Lord. And so we held on to that. Disciples make better lovers. That's number one. Number two, we got to remember that Satan, our enemy, entered in the conversation between God and man. And so it's in communication where warfare, spiritual warfare, first started. It was out of what was coming in the mouth, what was believed, what was interpreted from what God said that allowed them to eat the fruit. And so we forget it. So miscommunication, that's of the enemy. That's demonic. He's messing up the airwaves. And so we can't approach this spiritual issue with physical solutions. So when you said prayer, and this is why we need the referee of the Holy Spirit, like, hold on, whoa. There's a foul on the play. We're not going to let you hit below the belt. That's from the enemy. And so we recognize that. And so we take it very seriously on that. And I think we minimize the spiritual warfare that happens around marriage too often. And that's the thing. We went, like our fasting, our praying, we are waging war because we know the enemy don't want us to survive. We know the enemy doesn't want us to bring glory to God. He works in division, so we got to fight for unity. So if we're fighting for one another, we're not fighting against each other. And so really, we're not fighting against flesh and blood, but spirits and principalities, the spirit and wickedness in high places. And so I think it's just so key. And so we tell people, don't approach and think, oh, no, that's just a snarky remark. No, Satan literally wants to take our words and twist them against each other and against God. So even if you look at the 10 Commandments, it was about what you say. A lot of it was about what you say. Don't use my name in vain. And so we take it with the utmost severity. And here's the thing. Again, I think you said it earlier. Some people are like, man, that's real serious. That's severe. If you take the serious thing serious, you can have fun with everything else. Just don't take the serious things like they're haphazardly or like they're play. So communication, we don't play with that.
I think also, and the word says that love believes all things. And so that's another in communicating, like, what am I already believing before that? And if I'm already believing intentions are to hurt, or I'm already believing you're against me, before we even talk about it, I need to take that to the cross.
Yes.
Because now I'm already on the defense. And so there's a lot of conflict and communication work that can be done individually too, on our own. On our own, and before we bring it together, and being able to communicate that, like, I need a moment. I need to situate it, or I need to journal, or I'm, because I'm an external thinker, I might say something that I don't mean at the end because I need to hear it. So I need some time.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? In that sense, vice versa. And so knowing, okay, and you said it well, like, disciples make better lovers. And so I know that if I'm not eating in my word, or I'm not getting in my word, like, my spiritual appetite is low, that's going to affect everything I do. And so being able to give each other room to repent, to apologize as well, not expecting him to always get it right, or for me to always get it right, or me not expecting myself to always get it right, just giving room for home to be a safe place to mess up as well.
That's
with
really
that,
good.
with the belief that the intentions are good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying like in an abusive situation. I'm not, I'm not making room for foul play. I'm making room for growth in the conversation, I think. And I think too, I mentioned this a little bit. I've grown up seeing arguments, and I've seen like hurtful communication. So that was something I do, like in our marriage counseling. I said, hey, here's what I don't want to happen. You know what I'm saying? So because I saw some way, I'm like, hey, this might be in me. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what I don't want. I don't want to be fussy, and I don't want to yell and scream, and not that I don't even have a relationship to say that I did that in, but I know what I saw. You know what I'm saying? In different things. I was like, how do we not do that? And so I think, you have some things you're like, hey, this is what I don't want to see, and this is what I hope not to be. How do we work on that? So communication was one of those things for me that was very intentional, on my part, and like, hey, I'm not sure how to do it. I haven't had to communicate like this, so I'm grateful for your grace.
I'm grateful for yours, babe.
So that was really good.
You can ask more questions, and we just give shorter answers. Do a rapid fire round.
Well, I don't want to rapid fire this. I want to, because it is. I want to ask this question.
Okay.
Good. I yield. It's yours.
So we talked earlier about intimacy and how to discipline ourselves getting into marriage. Well, prior to marriage. So how 9 years, and how is? I mean, y'all got 3 kids, so y'all y'all
got it right 3 times.
I mean, you got it right 3 times, so it means there must be some intimacy there. So how are you able to maintain the intimacy inside of your marriage even now?
Go ahead, babe.
Intimacy in general, or you just
It could be definitely that. But also, we understand that intimacy is not just physical. Right. It's also mental too. And emotional. Yeah. So how are you all able to manage that? Because the reason why I ask is because in the mentality of a lot of people, it's like, man, 9 years with the same person, you know what I'm saying? So how are you able to keep it fresh?
Yeah, I think for me, we grow together. That's one way I think intimacy in all aspects. So our understanding of God has grown together. Our values have grown together.
Yeah.
What we do as far as work and home and like whatever it is, ministry, whatever we're a part of, we do that together and we grow in that together. And I think when we're both a part of what we're doing, it creates a closeness, right?
Yeah.
And then, we grow together. We we have fun together.
Yeah.
Like that companionship. We mentioned that before, being friends, not just get caught up in paying the bills, like going to work, making sure there's food, like the mechanics of marriage, but like actually, still kicking it, watching movies, having fun, being just who we are, growing in that together. Just it keeps us connected. It keeps us connected, and so then it makes anything physical is a part of that, is a response to our oneness and our purpose. And we say it all the time that purpose breeds pleasure. And so if we're pursuing purpose together, it's pleasurable. And so sexual intimacy is a result of all the other pleasures we're continuing to have.
Yeah.
So it's like growing together and going together.
Yeah.
You can say it like that. I had to learn to pace myself. When I say pace myself, I'm talking about in regards to intimacy. Like Cherelle, one of her love language is quality time. And so spending quality time when I am beelining to sexual intimacy, it's like, you want to cuddle before. You know what I'm saying? And that was a thing though. But it was like, if I truly care, and then learning how that works, what's going on in our brains. And I'm going to say education is big. Being educated on one another, educated on yourself, being a student of one another. I think that would be a very practical thing. We continue to learn each other in each season.
Yes, that's good.
And being honest with one another. Even we were looking at some of the questions, and it was like, what was one of our hard times or something like that. And we were talking about this last night, and it was actually miscommunication on, I guess you'd say, frequency or pursuit of sexual intimacy. And so we had to learn, okay, if my appetite, my desire or frequency might be a little bit different than yours, or either I might desire to be pursued sexually this way, and things. We had to have some of those hard conversations. One mentor, I would say distant mentor, somebody who's worth listening to. I don't really have a real personal relationship. He said, and they've been married. This is a guy from London. They've been married for 40 some odd years, right? And he said, they keep a sex journal where after they have physical intimacy, after they have sexual intercourse, they will write down how it was. And they said one time they looked up and they only had 5 entries or something like that in a year, 10 entries in a year or something. They said, whoa, so we only had sex 10 times. Something like that. And they said, but without the journal, we wouldn't have had the stats to back it up.
That is true.
They were busy building ministry. They had wonderful ministry in the UK. You know what I'm saying? All of that. And they said, man, so that's not our intention. So realized we had to be a little bit more intentional. So we realized the whole idea of scheduling, with more kids, at this age, is we have to finagle, like we have to we have to find our moments, you know what I mean? And not to sound weird, but just being real is like, hey, don't lose the art of the quickie.
Right.
And I know that might sound weird, but just like it's in the moments like, hey, we might not have the time to do the massage or do all this other stuff to warm the engine. Just keep the car running. In a given moment, this is our getaway mobile. Babe, look, everybody sleep.
Right.
And this is a date right now, know. Right. And just and just kind of like looking at those moments, but that we can do that because the other levels of intimacy are already there.
Yeah.
And it's not just the friction. Some stuff is we recognize that depending on the different people's appetite for sexual, like their sexual desire, sometimes it is maintenance. And what I mean by that, it is healthy maintenance. Like, hey, I know about this time that person, they're a little revved up.
Yeah.
So let me be aware of their sexual cycle.
Yeah.
And let's go ahead and meet that versus like, oh, now I'm gonna play hard to get. No, your spouse is in heat. Like you are part of the solution to that. You know what I mean? And so that, I mean, that's trying to be as practical and as still have some modesty with that. Like I said, educating, continue education on what is working physically, what is not working. It can be awkward, but I'm telling you, after the conversation, it's worth it.
So let me give you some pushback. Because someone would say, if we have to schedule it, then that's not really like, where's the spontaneity in that? Where's the passion? And hey, it's Tuesday at 7:30. 7:30. After meatloaf time. Well, y'all don't. After vegan loaf time, it's time for us to where's the passion in that?
I felt that same way when we were marriage counselors. So sometimes you got to put it on the calendar. I was like, put it on the calendar.
Yeah.
And so once you mature, you got a little bit more life going on. If you got that on your calendar, you'll get ready that whole day.
That is true.
And so that's the other thing. It's like, I mean, it's game time, baby.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so we both have agreed.
And you have a good game, you pat them on the butt.
Yeah. If they hit a shot, you celebrate them. I think affirmation.
There's some anticipation.
Some anticipation. And
I
think both parties getting ready for that moment helps the scheduled moment. It does. Don't arrive to it and be like, I'm just going to put this old T-shirt on. You know what I'm saying? I ain't going to take no shower. Like, seriously, like, if you got time to prepare, like, send a little text message or, do something to say, tonight. You the eyes, you go. And I think the other part, you talk about what keeps, I know a little bit different than the pushback, what kind of keeps us. We look at our sexual intimacy as worship unto the Lord. It is honoring God, and us doing it is our way of shining light in this dark realm of humanity. What?
I just thought about gospel music.
Somebody put up a meme and said, if you hear some noise, that's just mommy and daddy singing gospel music. And so we used it. We took it. It's like, man, like, Caleb, that's just gospel music.
That's just gospel music.
And so it's just, so it's like we could joke about it, and it's the redemptive aspect of it. Early on, and it takes time. That's why it takes time, and everybody's different. Anatomy and different things people work through. Yeah. I think the other part, we didn't have a lot of fantasy. Like, we dispelled a lot of fantasy of what sexual intimacy was going to be. Yeah. And I had to confront those things. I had a perverted past, whether it was pornography, past just sin. Sin. And I was like, I had to constantly, like, Lord, help me tear this down. Yeah. So we can, like, get this clean slate. I don't want to subject her to anything that's not her. Yeah. If the marriage bed is undefiled. So continue to speak truth. Right. Affirm one another physically, like verbally and sexually, like affirming them. I think that goes a long way. Like man, that was awesome. Like that was a we good job, man. Like, I don't know. I'm saying, I think it helps.
Good game.
Yeah, good game. Right. It does. And just not making it so difficult for the person to be a pleasurable presence and in it. Yeah, in the moment.
I think one of what you two said together. Ooh, love language. That's a phrase we can go on for another 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. But I think one of the things that Cherelle said and what you said, Chris, was with growth, you learn each other throughout the years, and with growth, I'm trying to find a way to phrase it. With growth, we change throughout the years. I should say that. Sure. Okay. So for 9 years, y'all, 9 years ago, y'all got married. Y'all were young Chris and Cherelle. Mm-hmm. Now y'all 9-year-old Chris and Cherelle. Correct. And it's completely different right now.
Absolutely.
And so your parents.
Yeah,
too, and their parents. Yeah. So like even that transition.
Yeah. Stages in life. Yeah. Now you're a doctor. Hey. You know what I'm saying? Now you're a doctor. That's a different stage in life, and that was a stressful time. Cherelle, you're working on your doctorate, and now you're a mother and a professor all at the same time. So there's different stages, and there's different stages that you're going to hit in life, and so think intimacy on different levels of mentally, emotionally and sexually will change as you're going through those ebbs and flows and those changes. So willingness to learn and grow one another. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I mean, I think the pushback or one of the things you were saying about the same person is like, well, actually it's the same person, but it's the best version of like I get the best version of my husband if we continue to grow together. He gets the best version of me. So it's never like a dull thing, because we're not just stagnant in our growth of who we are or who we are in the Lord or what we're doing. And so it's a constant.
I was gonna say another thing that has helped. Sexual purity helps, but working out together, physical exercise, that's a big thing for us. We work out together more often now because of the current season with COVID-19, and so we work out together almost every day. And I think just being around each other in that time and one another striving to be the best version for the other. And I'm a big flirt with my wife. You know what I'm saying? We could be doing kickboxing workouts, or we could be doing something. I'll be like, now remember that. Remember that plie. And it's, but that's our fun, in it. But I think it helps us be conscious of each other's physicality.
That's good, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't have an expectation for her to be something she's not physically.
Yeah.
Vice versa. You know what I mean? And I think us being completely accepting there, and affirming where each other might have some insecurities, physically. And so how do we get comfortable? Being completely. Oh, one of the things we would talk about is no leaf. That's in our curriculum. We call it no leaf. So no leaf is when you read in Genesis chapter 2, after Adam and Eve are created, it says, and they were naked and unashamed. They had no leaves. And so, no fig leaves. And so how do we get back to living in a marriage that has no leaves? That's physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. And so not to be covering each other up in shame, or covering ourselves up in shame. And so we talk about that, like, man, these fig leaves are real, because we're trying to cover it up. It was like, how do we, help each other in our insecure places, yet still inspire one another to strive to the best version of you. I don't want to be like, oh yeah, I got you now, I'm gonna let myself go.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? Or I want to smell good for you. You know what I'm saying? Like basic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just I want her to feel like she got a catch for all her life.
Yeah.
When I'm celebrating my 50th birthday, I want her to have the best version of Chris. Yeah. And my confidence is she gonna have the same attitude.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That we like. I want her. I believe she's gonna make me chase her as long as I can move. You know what I'm saying? And so that's literally we want to present the best version. Yeah.
So, in closing. Again, you guys have been married for almost a decade, and there's, lessons and things that you have learned throughout your marriage. What is one key piece of advice that you would give to a couple who's coming up behind you guys? Like whether they're engaged, going into marriage, or they're newlyweds? To get to 9 years and beyond.
Yeah, I think I would encourage the couple to like start at marriage. Don't try to make like your beginning of your marriage be the ending. And what I mean by that is be okay with learning and growing. Like, don't try to let me get it all together. Let me get it all right. I mean, there's some foundational things, right, that hopefully is what put you together. But be okay with being new, like figuring out who you are as a married person, because you might have been before, but you've never been married to this person before. Being a new creature with each other, being a new oneness. And so taking some of the pressure off of having to get it right. I know for me, one thing I had to realize is to learn to be Chris's wife and not just a wife. What I thought a wife should do and be and how she should respond, but irregardless of who I'm wife to. And so I think I was over like, okay, shouldn't I clean and do these things? And he was like, I don't care about that. You know? And so I had to learn, like, no, what does he need? And vice versa. And so for the wife, particularly, not just being a wife, because then you're in it by yourself. You know, you're trying to be who you want to be for him versus who he needs you to be. And so being his wife. And so that's a unique thing that somebody else may not can show you. And so you have to, that's why I say don't start at the end. Like, okay, now that we're married, okay, we're resting. No, the race has started. I mean, there's conditioning to get to the race, but the race has started, and give yourself that grace to learn. And I think you could be more vulnerable that way when you don't have the expectation of, I'm supposed to know this, or I should have got it right. Like, oh yeah, I ain't never been married before, or okay, this is year 2. I'm just pretty new at this. So you give each other more grace that way. But be her husband or his wife, not just a generic version of this thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's really good.
That's good.
I think I kind of give 2 things, but I think they kind of together. One, love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. I cannot back off Matthew 6:33 either. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. All these things should be added unto you. Many times, most of the times, the things that cause problems is a lack of seeking God. And that's, I would say, because God does correction. Like he does the correcting. Holy Spirit does the forming, And so when that's there, I can come to my wife and repent about something that the Lord showed me. It helps it. It helps it a lot. The other thing is, why did God put y'all together? And passionately pursue that. Have a reckless abandonment towards purpose. I just believe, like Cherelle said, purpose breeds pleasure. And so when we can go together, on the mission of God together, I believe that's what's supposed to happen, because God did not give Eve to Adam so Adam can just be happy. It was missional. And he did not give Eve to Adam until Adam was on mission. And so he knew Adam needed help to fulfill what he put Adam here on earth for. And so we treat marriage like it's for us. It's for God. And so it's like, man, if I am not on mission, I shouldn't occupy somebody else's life. I want to dream so big that everything Cherelle wants to do and be shall be fulfilled. If I'm going to be, in many ways, her under shepherd, like God is her ultimate shepherd. If I'm going to be her under shepherd, if I'm going to tend this pasture, I want the pasture to be so big that she can build whatever she wants to build and be satisfied, like be fulfilled. But my duty is to dream so big that her purpose is in it. And so that's I recognize one of my giftings is in this visionary type thing. But I do believe purpose, find purpose, passionately pursue that, because it's going to form you. It's going to keep you on the potter's wheel. You don't have time to waste on pettiness. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's like, man, look, we got too much going on to worry about that. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? And just kind of keeps you going there. It's not to overlook stuff, but it's to put things in proper perspective. And so if there's anything that gives me hope, is that until Jesus comes back, we got work to do. As long as we have work to do, there's grace that's going to be supplied. And so it really is that. So, and that's a Christocentric view. We try to keep it simple. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, nor does my elevator always reach the top floor. So I just try to keep it simple, man. Like we're gonna keep God first. Cherelle's gonna serve the Lord. I'm gonna serve the Lord. We're gonna do this together. What I'm confident is she's gonna love Jesus more than she loves me.
Right.
What she's confident is I'm gonna love Jesus more than I love her. It's gonna be Jesus that's gonna keep me from doing something stupid. It's gonna be Jesus that's gonna keep her. And I'm so grateful that the Lord has given us a simple revelation that is profoundly transforming our lives on a daily basis. So we thank y'all, man. Thank y'all for the opportunity.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, we're grateful.
Yeah. We appreciate y'all coming on here once again. Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
One of the ways in which we log off is we salute one another with a kiss. And so,
you talking about our spouse?
Yeah, our spouse. Yeah. Okay. Nah, bro. So yeah, we'll salute our spouse with a kiss, and we'll sign off from there. So
awesome.
There you go.
You may not kiss.
Hey, it's been Beauty and the Beard. Peace. That was good.
Yeah, man.